Welcome to Books Made Fun, where we learn English in creative ways with the help of stories. Let's begin the learning, my learners. Today, we're diving into a really fantastic story called The Crane and the Crab. And trust me, through this one simple story, we're going to unlock some amazing words, phrases, and idioms that will make your English sound so much more natural and advanced.
So, here's our game plan for today. First up, we're just going to sit back and enjoy the story about this cunning crane and, well, a very clever crab. After that, we'll take a much closer look at all the cool advanced words and idioms from the story, and to wrap things up, you'll get a chance to put your new knowledge into practice. Sound good? Let's get started. Okay, let's dive right into the story. As you listen, really pay attention to the words you see highlighted on the screen. Don't worry about them too much right now. We're going to break them all down a little later. So picture this. We begin in this absolutely perfect setting. There's a beautiful lake with these thick, tall plants called dense reeds, and the water is calm and peaceful, what we call tranquil waters. All the creatures there are living together in perfect harmony. But, there's a problem. An old crane, who used to be this really powerful and intimidating or formidable hunter, is now just too weak to catch any fish. So the crane is just sitting there looking completely lost in thought when a curious little crab comes up to him. And the crane, seeing his chance, tells this awful lie. He says that fishermen are on their way to wipe out, which means to completely destroy every single creature in the lake. And you can imagine, the other animals were absolutely shocked to the core. And then the crane acts like he's their hero. He pretends that he has their best interests at heart, which means he's acting like he really truly cares about them. The poor animals totally fall for it, with no idea that this is all part of the crane's evil plan, his sinister scheme. For a while, the crane totally had the upper hand. He was in complete control. But then it was the crab's turn, and as they were flying, the crab spots a pile of bones down below. Instantly, he gets it. He put two and two together and realized what was happening. And using his strong claws, he takes immediate action. Oh, now the tables have turned. The crane begged for mercy, but the crab was way too smart to fall for his tricks a second time. See, the other animals had trusted the crane without question. They had blind trust. And because of that, they had walked into a trap. So the crab ends the threat and returns to the lake to tell everyone the real story. And this right here, this is the big lesson of the whole story. It's a really important reminder to be careful and think before you do something. In other words, look before you leap. Why? Because sometimes things aren't what they seem, and a person might be playing a double game. Okay, wasn't that a great story? What I love about it is how it uses such powerful words to really paint a vivid picture. So now, let's go back and really break down all those advanced words and phrases we heard. Let's start with how the story set the scene. First, we had dense reeds, which in Hindi is ghani sarkande ki jhadiyan. The key word is dense, which is an adjective. You can also use the noun form, density, like talking about the density of a population. Next up, tranquil waters, meaning shant or sthir pani. Tranquil is a beautiful adjective, and its noun form is tranquility. You could say something like, I love the tranquility of the countryside. And finally, perfect harmony, or born samanjasya. Harmony is the noun here, and you can change it to an adjective, harmonious. For instance, the choir sang in harmonious voices. Now, let's talk about our characters. The crane was described as a formidable hunter, which means a bahut shaktishali shikari. Formidable is a fantastic adjective. You could say, she is a formidable chess player. Then we saw him lost in thought, or gehri soch mein duba hua. And of course, the whole story revolved around his sinister scheme, which means a buri yojna. Now, scheme can be a noun, like in the story, but it can also be a verb. For example, they schemed to overthrow the government. And what about our hero, the crab? He was a curious creature, a jigyasu jeev. The adjective is curious, and the noun form is curiosity. Like a cat's curiosity can get it into trouble. He used his strong claws, mazboot panje. The noun form of the adjective strong is strength. For example, it takes great strength to lift that. And the big clue? That pile of bones? Hadyon ka dhrer. Pile is a noun, but it can also be a verb, like, don't just pile your books on the floor. And the last phrase from this part is so important. Blind trust, meaning bina soche samjhe bharosa. Trust is a great word because it works as both a noun and a verb. As a noun, you could say, my trust in him was broken. As a verb, I trust you to do the right thing. And if you want an adjective, you can say someone is trustworthy, as in, he is a very trustworthy friend. All right, let's move on to the idioms. This is where we really start to build our conversational English. These expressions are what make the language feel so alive, and using them is a key step to sounding more like a native speaker. So the crane's big lie was that fishermen would wipe out everyone in the lake, meaning puri tarah se nasht kar dena. A modern example might be, a computer virus can wipe out all your files. This terrible news left the animals shocked to the core, or bahut zyada chonk jana. You could say, he was shocked to the core when he won the lottery. And the crane pretended to have their best interests at heart, which means to genuinely care about someone's well-being. किसी की भलाई की सच्ची चिंता करना. A perfect example is, a good teacher always has their students' best interests at heart. For a while, the crane definitely seemed to have the upper hand, which means he was in a position of advantage or control. किसी पर बरत होना. But our clever crab was able to put two and two together. This is a great one. It means he figured out the truth from the clues he saw. Sanketo se sachai samajh lena. The other animals, on the other hand, did fall for his tricks, meaning they were deceived by his lies. Kisi ki chal mein fas jana. The poor fish had no idea they were about to walk into a trap, knowingly or unknowingly entering a dangerous situation, or khud hi jal mein phas jana. This brings us to probably the most important idiom from the whole story. Look before you leap. It's such good advice. It just means think carefully before you act. Qadam uthane se pehle socho. And the crane? He was an expert at being able to play a double game, which means deceiving someone by pretending to be their friend. Dohuri chal chalna. Okay, let's look at the idioms around the story's big turning point. The crab made the brave decision to turn against the crane, which means to suddenly become his enemy. Kisi ke khilaf ho jana. He was able to see the truth, or sachai samajh jana, right before it was too late. And what was the biggest mistake the other animals made? They had a tendency to trust blindly, bina soche samjhe bharosa karna, and that's exactly what put them in so much danger. And finally, let's look at the idioms about the consequences. When the crane was caught, he tried to beg for mercy, which means to plead for forgiveness, daya ki bhik mangna. Hopefully the surviving animals will learn a lesson from this whole experience, which means to gain wisdom from a mistake. Galti se seekh lena. And in the end, the crane did get what one deserves, meaning he received the appropriate punishment for his actions. Jaisa karm vaisa phal milna. So, after going through the story and all these new words and idioms, what's the big takeaway? What's the crucial point we should all remember from this? You know, the lesson is actually pretty simple, but it's so powerful. Don't just give someone your blind trust. It's okay to be a little cautious, to think things through, and just like that great idiom says, to look before you leap. Using your own wisdom and thinking carefully, that's what can really protect you from harm. And now it is your turn to practice. I would absolutely love to see you use what you've learned today. So head on down to the comments and try these 3 things. First, can you make your own sentence using the phrase formidable hunter? Second, tell us about a time in your life when you had to look before you leap. And last, which new idiom was your favorite and why? I am really looking forward to reading all of your answers. Hey, if you found this story-based way of learning helpful, please think about supporting our channel. Every like, share, and comment really, truly helps us create more content just for you. Your feedback means the world to us. Thank you so much for joining me today, and as always, keep on learning.